Would you rather be book smart or street smart? Think about this question for a little bit. Now, most people think one is better than the other, but the truth is relying on only one of these is just going to hold you back. Now, before we go into why that is, we have to first break down what each really are. So, school smart or book smart, people refer both those the same thing, is usually someone who has a lot of knowledge from school or some sort of specific knowledge in a certain field. They have a lot of understanding in theory, analyzation, and just strategic and structured planning and problem solving. Whereas someone who's street smart is usually someone who's able to have more of on the fly knowledge and act in impromptu situations. And they're really good at reading people and solving real world problem solving kind of stuff that are very hands on and require like on the spot execution. So the reason only being one is bad is because if we play the role of someone who's school smart, you might be really good at theory and actually building strategic plans towards attacking problems and developing solutions. But in real world chaos and real world situations where things don't go as expected and you have to deal with problems on the fly, you might fall into situations where you're not able to have the proper execution, or you hesitate and you make really poor decisions. Whereas you had a really good plan approaching it, but things just went wrong and you weren't able to act on the fly and improve. So this is the restriction. This is the constraint. But if we play the situation of someone who's only a street smart person, you're able to act in situations on the fly and execute and navigate through these problems quick and make adjustments and adapt when necessary. But you really just hit a ceiling whenever you get into a situation that requires deeper knowledge or specific information about the specific field or task at hand that you don't have. That's specialty. So if we just imagine a scenario where we want to build a bridge, if we have someone who's book smart, typically they'll be able to build the structure and use the engineering skills that they have to build and map out how they would want to build a bridge with the proper physics involved so it doesn't break and doesn't fall apart. But if they don't really know how the construction and actual physical building goes into actually building this bridge, or they don't have those kinds of skills, then the bridge is going to be some sort of plan that's left on paper. It's never going to be executed. But if we have someone who's street smart who wants to build this bridge, they might have a general understanding of how to approach the structure of it physically and how to build it, but without the proper engineering and math required to structure it so it doesn't collapse, the building is likely going to collapse and fall apart. It doesn't have the proper structural support that someone who has a special experience and knowledge would have to build that or plan that out. So the reason you need both. Success really comes from the blend of having the knowledge and the ability to execute, not one or the other. You're going to be constrained if you have only one of these. For example, if we have an entrepreneur who's really good at reading the data for their metrics, for their marketing or for their leads or for their offer, and is able to properly structure their program or course, and they have the ability to talk to clients, handle sales, and pretty much deal with clients to make sure they have a happy, satisfied customer, they're going to excel because they're leveraging both skill sets of being a school person or school smart or book smart person and a street smart person. Or if we have some sort of doctor, lawyer, engineer who has a lot of specific knowledge in whatever their craft is, and they have the ability to talk to customers and talk to their clients in a very compassionate and comforting way and explain things clearly so that people who are complete newbies in the field can understand as well, then they're also going to excel because they're leveraging both book smart and street smart to fully excel in their career. You can imagine in any of these positions, if you had only one side of the school smart or the street smart, you're not really maximizing your potential. But if you leverage both of these skill sets, then you are going to be so far than everyone else who has only one or the other. So it's not about being kind of 50-50 because every person is going to have their own strength where they're stronger in one or the other. It's a matter of recognizing which one's your strength and which one's your weak side. If you happen to be someone who's very book smart and are not really street smart or lack that kind of side of knowledge or way of thinking, then you want to put yourself more in situations where you have to act on the fly or think or speak on the fly that it might make you feel nervous. You might hesitate. You might feel uncomfortable, but that's going to be the mental building area where you improve on that side of knowledge or way of thinking that you don't excel at. For example, that street smart way of thinking. But if you're someone who's very street smart and you lack like the technical specific knowledge, then you want to spend time learning the kind of theory or the specific knowledge in that field that you're really involved in, or that you're able to kind of generally understand and you're able to execute in. And you can build that kind of structural knowledge that you can level up along with the execution. So you're kind of limited to your general knowledge right now, but if you build on that kind of structural and specific knowledge and learn the theory behind things and how to analyze and approach these problems, you have the ability to act on the fly and think with proper strategic planning, which is going to allow you to significantly level up in whatever field it is, right? The real winners in this world are people who can leverage both of these worlds of thinking with the proper strategic planning, analyzation, and analysis, along with the ability to act on the fly and leverage the knowledge and specific expertise they have to deal with clients, maybe approach the problem and act on the fly if there's any solution needed to out of nowhere be figured out for a problem that wasn't expected, and not just delayed by trying to plan and figure out and not properly execute. All right. So let me know down in the comments what you guys are struggling with, whether it's school or street smart, and how you guys plan to actually implement the other way of thinking into your own experience. Because somebody else might be going through the same situation as you and they could branch off with some ideas. So let me know down in the comments.